What is it that you want? Is there something you don't have that you want? Do you want money? Better job? A new love? For your kitty cat to feel better? Some people are cursed with desires they cannot possibly fulfill. There's nowhere to go. Nothing to be done. Those desires can't be fulfilled. Give it up. Give up those desires. How many times have you heard something like that? That desire is a prison. The mind is a prison. How to escape that prison? It's not good enough to stop thinking. That can be done just by pushing thoughts out of your head, repressing them, throwing them away. But that results in dullness. How do you get freedom from the mind and from desires? Just life itself teaches you that. When you're young, you want so many different things. A prestigious job, a philosophy to die for, money, independence, freedom. Some seek enlightenment, whatever that is. These are the most cursed people of all. How do you search for enlightenment? What is it? What's gained by having enlightenment? What's lost? Then somebody comes and tells you, there's no need to strive because you're already enlightened. And you grasp onto that concept and you repeat it time after time after time. But what does it mean that you're already enlightened? One could say that enlightenment is living without the hindrance of mind. Through your experience, you've learned that the mind can make an infinite number of mistakes. So you distrust the mind and live automatically. But what does that get you? Why do you come here? What do you expect to get here that you don't get somewhere else? What I have to tell you is that living without a mind interfering, interpreting, imposing can be a wonderful thing. You can experience so many states of different kinds of happiness, of peace, or the explosion of Shakti within, an immense experience of the realization of yourself as spirit, as energy and consciousness. Or just to live without desire, without thinking, without summarizing, without seeking. I don't think a 20-year-old can live without seeking, or a 30-year-old. Nor can you really learn how to attain it. The best you can do is to be still and observe yourself, becoming totally self-aware, aware of your thinking. Is there a location it takes place? Where does your consciousness usually rest? In your head, outside of yourself, in your heart, in your gut? doesn't move around frequently. Just observe yourself. And even more deeply, feel yourself. Quietly, silently, feel yourself. Feel inside your chest, in your gut, in your pelvis, in your legs. Feel for any energies that may be flowing in your body. Put your two hands together. And see if you can feel the flowing of energy from one hand to the other. What are you anyway? Are you a human? You know, one day, after years of meditation, you may come to the conclusion that all experiences are alike, and they have nothing to do with who or what you are. Experiences are just phenomena. And they're not you. And you spend all your time observing phenomena, including your own body and your own mind. And you see you're none of it. You're beyond experiences, so to speak. And that means you were never born into the world. You are the witness of all phenomena. But you can't witness yourself. What you are has no properties, has no existence. The unborn. Therefore, since you're not born, you will not die. You'll just go away. There'll be an ending of your sensing. But that does not matter because there's sensing in so many entities in the world. This is one point of view, expressed often in Advaita. On the other hand, there are experiences of unity where you're one with everything. There comes a moment when there's no difference between you and the wall, the ceiling, the sounds of a bird outside. Everything is you. You embrace everything without any hindrance. There's no boundary. And you know, you can go back and forth between these states in the same day. One hour, you'll be everything. And 6 hours later, You'll be away from everything, and you won't be able to see yourself. So, what are we looking for when we're looking for ourselves? Are we not looking for the one who feels, the one who sees, the one who hears, the one who tastes and touches? So, knowing that, what is our practice? Our practice is to be aware of where hearing arises. Do you experience hearing in your head, in your chest, in your gut? Same with seeing and feeling. How do you feel your legs? Where are your legs compared with where you think you are? The seeker is seeking himself or herself. The seeker seeks their own zero state, the one of complete rest. When you find that complete rest, there's nothing more to do or know. You've escaped from being a seeker. All questions are answered because they're no longer asked, not because they're solved. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. You're completely happy resting in yourself. And the emptier you get and remain, the more marvelous experiences you have. Some days you'll wake up, feel very good in the morning, but by the afternoon, you're feeling ecstatic bliss throughout your whole body and your whole being. It's so absolutely wonderful just being alive. And after a few hours or a few days, the bliss goes away and you're just quietly yourself in the zero state. Maybe you stay in that zero state for a day or 2 days or a few minutes or a few hours. But then something new comes up. Maybe you feel a blissful energy descending downward from your brain into your body. And you feel completely relieved of all doubt, of all wondering and wandering. You feel that all your sins and mistakes are washed from you. Maybe you feel it so deeply you can't even speak about it. You don't want to move because your state is so precious, you want to do nothing to disturb it. Maybe you just lay down where you are and feel that joy lying on the floor in the living room or in the kitchen, just feeling ecstatic joy of being alive with nothing to do. And with nothing to do comes the bliss of being. And later on, the bliss goes away. And you're left empty and quiet. At first, the emptiness makes you feel a deep peace. And after a while, even the peace goes away. And you're just there existing. Without bliss, without joy, without unhappiness, without doubts, without feelings. You just are. All these things happen to you in your zero state when you're not busy interacting in the world. You get to know what the zero state is like. The bliss of being or the nothingness of being. They all blend together. At one moment, you can say you're nothing at all because the mind does not move. There are no emotions. There's no particular awareness. You're just resting in yourself. Another moment, you're filled with bliss and happiness. And that goes away, and you just are resting with a deep, deep peacefulness. Such as living in the zero state. But once you know that state, it's easy to move from it and carry the taste of it with you. You begin to be able to think and act and yet carry that peace with you at all times. And there's truly nothing to do and nowhere to go. You don't even need to talk about it to other people anymore. You're free, free from desire, free from thinking. Vestiges of desires may come to you, but they don't grab you. Same with thinking, it may come, but you pay it no heed. And moment to moment, you act appropriately because you know how to act in almost any situation you've ever been in. You do it automatically, thoughtlessly, without doubt, 100% committed to just sitting down in a chair or making lunch. You think nothing about it. You found a place of rest. Happiness comes. Even bliss comes. But mostly, you're just at rest with nothing to do and nowhere to go. One of the problems that happens, though, is such a state means you don't move much. You're happy as a bug in a rug, doing nothing. You have to force yourself to do exercises. You have to force yourself to get out of bed because you're just so happy wherever you are. The motivation to move somewhere else doesn't arise. And you get to be almost like Ramana, stuck to the temple floor, stuck there by your own juices and sweat, blood. And you emanate happiness. You are happiness. You are happier than you ever been before. People say you're full of shit. And you kind of agree with them. Because from your point of view, you're doing nothing anymore. And you can understand how they can think of you as worthless. Holy cow. You're utterly free of the desires of life, of promotion, of doing things. Instead, you're just being in the zero state of no movement. You become lazier and lazier. You can't be bothered opening the mail. So the mail piles up on your dining room table till it's 2 feet thick. Robert used to say, don't worry about your mail. If something really important is happening, they'll come and get you. And you stop responding to the demands. Until they get you in trouble. And then you realize you have to do some sort of minimal things just to protect yourself and to keep what you have. Because keeping what you have is what minimizes your need to do anything. Imagine a state so peaceful that robbers can come in and take everything around the house and not be moved. You become helpless to an extent. At least that's how other people would see it. But you're not helpless, you're in bliss. Well, and sometimes you're not in bliss, but you're just happy. And sometimes you're not just happy, you're just there in the zero state without thinking, without desires, without bliss, but in a state of profound rest and relaxation. And in this state, there's nothing that you need or want or desire. You're just happy and complete and unmoving. People may think you must be very depressed because you're not moving. And they tell you, go to a movie, go out and find some friends, go enjoy yourself, go to a movie, have something at dinner at a restaurant, go sailing and enjoy the ocean. But you're so happy you can't enjoy sailing because you'd have to move. What if you didn't have to move anymore? What if where you were right at this moment was absolutely perfect? You didn't have to struggle for enlightenment. You didn't have to struggle to know yourself. You didn't have to do anything at all. You don't have to go to Facebook and make comments. You don't have to prepare for a class. You don't have to produce something for your boss. But then you find that the peace, the zero state is so ingrained in you that you can go through periods of movement and planning and doing things without that action taking away from your peace. Imagine being so peaceful that you can be busily engaged in the world and not lose it, or not even be aware of it. And that's okay too. Then there's nothing that will separate your appearance and presentation from anyone else in the world. You'll be ordinary Joe. And you'll be the one that is not in those not ordinary Joe commercials about that exceptional electrical repairman who is not an ordinary Joe. By being extraordinary. But you're extraordinary in a different way. You're resting in yourself. You can feel your own beingness. And the characteristic of that beingness is happiness, peace, joy, and nothingness, each succeeding each other in an endless rotation of being the zero state and feeling different feelings through the zero state. Joy, bliss, nothingness, happiness. To some people, this would sound like a horrible fate, not to have something to strive for, something to desire, something to attain. But other people will look at it as a rest from that prison of activities. Some people know this, that this is the end, even before they attain it. So they struggle to build a situation for themselves where they don't have to do anything. They're busy preparing to be nothing, making money so that they don't have to wake up out of their nothingness later in order to get something needed at that moment. Wisdom is infusing them with preparing themselves to do nothing. In that nothingness is complete rest. And the succession of states of joy, bliss, rest, deep peace, happiness, and a completion of all searching and all itches to move. So when someone asks you, what you want out of life, you can answer truthfully, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be and feel myself as I am. This is all I need, all I want. I don't need companionship. I don't need friends. I don't need love. I certainly don't need money. I got what I need. Complete, unending, unalloyed happiness. So what's gone away? You no longer strive for anything that you don't already have. The desires barely come to you at all. If they do, they're sort of weak and you can dismiss them. Your mind working somewhere, but at a leisurely pace, without you paying it any heed. It's just background noise. And you ignore it and rest in your own happiness. You rest in your own peace. Does anyone have any questions or statements or desires? Let me put them at rest.
Hello, Edgy. Thank you for that. It took you a long while to get going, but it was worth the wait. Just when I thought you've explained the ineffable completely, you've done it, you've redone it on a new paradigm for me. You've gone so direct to that which cannot be explained. It was fantastic. Just a couple of things, though. It's as if you were described. It's as if you were looking into me and describing where I'm at right now. And but for me, you call it the zero state is also for me, it's also the infinite state, because there's nothing lacking. It has the totality of self. It has everything that one was previously seeking for in spades. And there's also something extra going on with me that it's hard to quantify. I'm still in the process of piecing it together, but basically you've captured 95% of where I'm at in your description, which is amazing. So thank you for that. Everything is great here. Thank you, Edgy. You're fantastic. Love you.
Thank you, Mark. What's the other 5% that are different?
I think it has to do with what you call the energies and how they interact with the world, with the environment. But I'm still working out exactly what's going on. It's kind of subtle, but not subtle at the same time. And I don't want to get ahead of myself with coming up with a theory that proves not to be true in the long run. So I mean, you've nailed it, but maybe it's just my way of perceiving what you're describing. So a little bit of a different flavor. Like when you talk about peace, when you talk about rest, for me, there's something else going on. Okay, I'll tell you what I think it is. It's like there's an energetic tunnel going from me to everything that exists, and there's a interaction between the two. So maybe I'm just going further into description of the energies and that, but it has to do on that level. But everything else is basically exactly what you said.
Vasily, do you have something?
Yes, thank you, Edward. Thank you, everybody. It has always been a topic that worries me. How lazy can I become in life? And
Can you speak a little louder?
I'm very sorry, it's a crappy microphone. Can you hear me now? As I've told you before, I changed careers about 3 years ago. Now I have my own business and I have more free time to spend time with myself and not worrying and not being dictated of what to do every day. I have less stress and more peaceful generally. But there comes a time when you have to motivate yourself, like you have to take initiative, and coming out in and out of peace and self-motivating myself sometimes becomes really difficult. And it is a topic generally that I'm confused about. Like the Gitas, when Arjuna is being told that you have to go and fight now, and it's your karma, and you have to do your yoga. It is something that I have not balanced yet. So thank you for touching this thing.
Hi. Hi, Eddie. This is my son, little Eddie. Eddie Jr.
Hello,
Yes.
I'm new in this group. Very, very grateful for your teachings and your presence and the messages you provide us. I feel really blessed that in that point of my life. My question would be, mostly I feel peaceful, even joyful from within. And but where does love come in? I don't feel love. When I sense love from within, it comes. It's always a particular love, worldly or conditioned. Except when I really go within and go into the heart and think about Nisargadatta, especially him, and then I have this unconditional love and I cry. But in daily life, I feel joy and peace, 95% of time for now. But where does love come in? And because this is what I long for, or this unconditional love for what is, everyone and everything. And this is my only prayer, to love everyone and everything as it is, not as I would like them to be. And I can't quite make the link between the two for now.
Do you want to feel unconditional love for people, or do you want them to feel it towards you?
Oh no, I want to feel. I would love, yeah, I would love to have the, what do you call, God's vision or God's Christ vision, and not my perception. I'm fed up with my with my own perceptions. I really long for God's love and to feel that for what it is. See perfection in the world. I mean, that's my only desire. Even feeling peace and joy, of course, it's beautiful, and of course, suffering, not being there is, I mean, unbelievable for me now. But still, there is this strive for really loving without condition, and I don't feel that.
Well, in the world of Advaita, there's not much place for love. Love itself is an impediment because it keeps you bound to something or other. The whole thing about love is really to reach the energy exploding state of Shakti within, to feel the bliss of God realization. But after that, many years after that, the goal becomes nothingness and peace. Following love or desiring love and following it when it appears can bring you to knowing the life force within, exploding in you. But after you know the life force, and you know consciousness, then there's no need. So I don't say, let go of it, because how can you let go of it? Something like that, desire for love, to feel love. You can't let go of that. So you follow that. You follow that need, that desire. And that infuses your spiritual practice. And then one day, you might have that explosion in you of God realization. It's not for everyone. It's not necessary for freedom to have that God realization experience. But there's a completion in it of a certain sort. When you recognize that you're not a limited human being, but you're actually spirit, and that comes through love. But after that need for love is met, then you can pursue pure freedom. And you don't have to pursue it, it'll come by itself. But love is a limiting factor, ultimately. It has its place in your life. And you do have to satisfy it by searching for it or being open to it at least. And to be fulfilled by its completion. And then you can move on to do nothing.
Thank you.
Rekha, you seem very restless.
I don't feel restless. Was thinking about what you said, and I'm not sure that I understood everything. Maybe that's why. And I'm always try to find out from where you are speaking. That's what I can say now.
Jay's cat looks very happy, along with Jay himself.
Gypsy saw little Eddie, and she came wrapped herself around my legs and wanted to get in the Zoom. Dahlia, I have to say that's the most beautiful name I've ever heard, and love just exploded from you. To me, I felt it with a clarity that was just indescribable. Today was exquisite, Edgy. I think that that Gypsy needed 2 dollops of this satsang. Is absolutely extraordinary. This is the cat sang moment, as so. But I know. I think probably what, in a way, how you described the time and the absolute and the Janet experience and the God realization, and that it doesn't necessarily lead to freedom in the sense of enlightenment, whatever that is, but that you've brought everything back to the marketplace and shared this exquisite love for us that is so indescribably perfect. I just run to get here, and I had to today because I can't miss these. This is absolute grace, bliss, and joy, and my bliss and joy, and it's indescribable. And I love you, and you're my Sadguru. The darshan from every satsang is an extraordinary gift. I love you with all my heart. You're my beloved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay. You're kind of cool too.
When I put the headphones on, it's not like you're in the room, but you're in my head. You supplant my being with God's love in such a way that it just takes me another lap around the track of bliss and grace. It really is indescribable. I try not to get lost in verbiage, but just simply to love and love everyone here. And my takeaway is such exquisite love. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear his purring? He's purring very loudly.
Gypsy's purr is, she's a little girl. Her purr. That they created a toy, I think, for babies that mothers put on their chest. There was one with the heart, and there was another with a purring sound. And I mean, okay, I could do that. I could get one of those now, except that I have one.
Anybody else have something to say?
Thank you, Ed.
You're welcome. Bernadette, I'm going to turn this meeting over to you, to Chris. Take care, and I love you.